And all I'm looking to do here is the same thing I've been doing now for 6 weeks, which is just buy into high volume pullbacks. That is it. That is it. I told you though that when we finally did get a good sell, this is how it would happen. We would wake up to a decent little sell. Now it's only very minorly red. We're only down 1.5% on Nasdaq, which we were down yesterday, and they finished green. And then today, the S&P is actually following along, which is a little bit different. XLK is continuing its sell-off. Although AVGO is not nearly down as much as it was yesterday, it's still down 3%. All that to say is that it doesn't matter. High volume pullbacks is all you need to do right now. If let's look at the daily chart, we have a nice little downfill. Every single candle so far has been bottom wicked. We'll see how today's closed. Yesterday was hammered. An incredibly bullish day yesterday. Some of the most bullish action we've seen since May 26th yesterday. And hopefully they do it again today to show even more accumulation on the charts. There's a monster green candle, of course, 80 points instantly off of a too much, too fast bounce. So far, the bulls are still in control on the daily chart. And we're just waiting for the signs. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? Spot Gamma access is still down for some reason. Can't access the website. I'm going to have to get with tech support and see what's going on. Yeah, it is weird. What's up, Sonny? How you doing? Got a little call buying, put selling here as expected. Massive green candle, instant 100 points right at the open. Surprise, surprise. To clap all those who are trying to short the open. Over and over and over again. What's up, YK Jonathan? Good morning. Massive greens over and over again. ES is doing the same. Big bounce on the S&P, 10 points instantly. Oil's back down to 1.6. VIX is up again to 1590. Over and over and over again. More of the same. More of the same. Still waiting to see if the bears are going to take control of anything. So far, they are weak-handed. And we're going to see what they're going to do. Had such a good day yesterday. Don't want to give back much of that, so I'm going to be very picky on entries. Nice. 100%. That's a good way to go about doing it. Right here, we have another 50% range touch. So we see that thing roll over just a touch. Instant bottom wick off of the 50%. So 100-point range so far. Another bottom wick. Beautiful stuff, baby. Beautiful stuff. Just waiting. 30,020. So the next target is going to be here, 29,920, which was yesterday's target in the event that they held the low. Obviously, they didn't do that, and once they put on the volume, it's up, up, and away. But this would be our next target in the event that we did take out the lows of 29,919 on NASDAQ, which is not that far down. It's only, what, about another 100 points. So if we do close the morning low here, that's what we'll be looking for. And we will see. Here we are, coming on down. New low of the day right there. There's a bottom wick touch. No volume spike on this move too, so it does appear that we are going to shift on down. No volume on that one. If we do absorb this, it should be a decent little move. I'm just, like I said, I'm watching the volume spikes here. I'm watching the volume at the bottom to determine what they're going to do. Right now, we don't have much. Very minor volume spike. Nothing crazy. This does look like it's going to absorb and just trickle lower here on that move after the too much, too fast bounce. I had to pretend to work this week so I couldn't listen in. We had a pretty fantastic week, man. Bought every single dip, still no shorting. 6 weeks in a row, not a single short position, and a lot of low stress, easy trades. It's beautiful stuff. For the first time in human history, AI agent traffic has surpassed human traffic online. So we're literally conversing with robots. Can't convince me y'all not one? Yeah. I start shorting out on stream. Another massive bottom wick. Still not a lot of volume here, so I'm not looking to buy the dip just yet. I need that volume spike. I've wagered to say a majority of all internet traffic isn't from regular people. Bots and AI feel 90% of everything. 100%. 100%. Just waiting. You know what's scary? So I went on my local city's Facebook page, and somebody had posted a big article about the flock cameras and like the deflocking website. It is shocking how many people want to be surveilled. How they're perfectly okay with it. They think it's more good than bad. Shocking. Americans are weak. They're weak. Can't even bench 225, I bet. Coming off 29,980. We should name America the 250th anniversary of New China. We should. We should. That's a flocking good idea. Coming on down 977. Do you even bench? I had bench for breakfast, baby. Dudes in London cut down cameras. Man, does London have bigger huevos than America? Shocking. Large red sweeping candles. Still no volume, so I'm not buying the dip. Until I get a volume spike, I am not buying the dip. Still don't think we should get rid of them all. How about those horns? Man, they destroyed them. Very strong games. I couldn't imagine waking up not knowing I couldn't bench 225. I couldn't. It's amazing. Large red sweeping candles all the way down. No volume spikes. No longs. I would probably say we're going for 920. 920 will be the obvious target, but of course, I need a volume spike, baby. I need a volume spike. I think this might be the move down to 920 right here. See if we can get it. Let's do it. How do we feel about shorts today? I'm not taking any shorts. Y'all can do whatever you want. This is obviously a bearish opening so far. I'm just not going to do it. When the macro thesis changes, which it hasn't yet, it could change after today. After the macro thesis change, I will start taking short positions. But I'm not going to start doing it, especially on a Friday. So I'm simply going to wait for high volume pullbacks. And if I'm wrong, cool. Then next week it'll be time to start shorting. But I'm going to stick to my guns. Sunday we get the Iran deal, yeah. When I worked in investigations, still don't think we should get rid of them. See, I mean, that's the good side of things, obviously. Everything, you know, even if it is good intentions, they say that the road to good intentions, or the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it's one of those things that safety or freedom, that type of thing, or liberty. But I get your point. I see your point. Another top wick here. The tripping mic just hit us with a 6-7. No volume spikes yet. No volume spikes yet. Still down. Don't you always say there's a reversal on NFP price action? I do. I do say that. NFP is my favorite news event to trade simply because of that fact. So we could definitely see another hammer V recovery today. It's just I'm going to wait for volume. You do not want to front run any move like this without volume. And here comes 29.9 right now, which is the main pivot. And I can pretty much guarantee we're going to have at least a defense of this level, plus or minus a couple of points. And I don't know how big the bounce is going to be, but they'll defend it. And that's one of those scalpable areas. We had it yesterday. We talk about it all the time. Where's my stupid chart? There it is. But all I'm doing really right now is looking for volume. Looking for volume. Today is Friday, of course. We have no news at top of the hour. In fact, we have no more news the rest of the day. That is it. No news. So it's just price action today, baby, and possible Trump tweets. Coming on down. Coming on down. There we go. See the volume spike as we hit? Do you see the volume spike as we hit? Let's see how they defend it. Nine, 10. Still holding, still holding the 29.9 level. Do we get a scalpable play off this position? Or does it continue to blow down? Time will tell. Let's go to the 5-minute. There's no volume spike on the 5-minute. 1 minute does have a volume spike, but we'll see. Do they give us a scalpable level here? $8.50 is my next support level. Yeah, I don't want to get carried away though. Let's go to the 15. Here's the 15-minute chart. We've got 867, 5309. Damn you, Tommy Two-Tone. After that, we have come down into the 763. Right there, those are the two levels. Today may be a day for a Trump tweet. If he sees it's going too far down, that's what he'll do. That's what he'll do. Market is still sliding lower, lower, and lower. There's no bottom wicks. There's no higher highs. We have a very minor volume spike at 945, but that's it. The bears so far are in control. How do you make the price range do the 50-50 section? If you go to the Fibonacci tool and just pull one, and then right-click on it and go to Settings, you can go to Style and deselect everything except the 50, which is this one right here. And that's what I do for the 50. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that's what I do it. That's the way I do it. Still coming off. It's 875, looking for 864. That's the next pivot. We had a very, very, very small defense of 919, barely even wicked off of it. And now they're coming on in blind right on through 864, which is the next pivot. Still no volume spike on it. Still coming on down. Are they pumping the calls? I can't see. Are they going to recover this? Man, that would be glorious. That would be glorious. 857. B-saw 2 days in a row. This is getting frustrated. Yeah, it is frustrating. I've been there. I have one every now and then. Not as often as used to. There's a big bottom wick off of it. What did I miss? What's up, JJ Butts? Where have you been, buddy? Where has JJ been? It's alive. Oh, what a great movie that is. Gone for a year. A little bit of a wick off this area. They always defend it from a scalpable position. Still sliding lower. Nice little bottom wick right off of it. Oh, man, what are they going to do? The S&P is coming on down as well. They briefly defended this level and then faded. You see that little green candle right on it and then faded. Now they're retesting that level and they instant reject it. They're talking 2 or 3 point candles there. Their next target is going to be 75.15 and then 75.05. I still don't see a lot of supportive volume here. We see slight volume upticks, but with such a move like this, you would think high volume spikes. But are they still pumping calls? Show me. What do you got? Who's got it? Had to take a break. I was making too much money. Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm glad to see you back. They are pumping calls indeed. Indeed-a-reno. Indeed-a-reno. Can they rocket ship this thing, baby? Can they rocket ship this thing and recover the 50? That's the question. They are pumping calls at the moment. They are pumping them. We just need to break out over the 3 C's trigger. That's what we need. Rocket ship Nasdaq into 35,000. Dude, that would blow so many minds. It's not even funny. We got $1 billion in calls. We got 145 million in puts sold. This is a bullish options chain from what we're seeing here. We have a touch of the prior levels. We have an extended book. We have medium volume coming in, and all we need is a higher high here to get us into the races here. We need 900 to clear, and then we're going to go. So we need it to go right here. Can they hold 900? Can they hold 900? Heck yeah, H. Lopez. Heck yeah, man. Just finally got over the buffer on my pro account. So freaking happy, feels like the wait. Nice, Marco. Well done, buddy. Congratulations. Now, keep things simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overtrade. Don't overpositions. Keep up the good work. Fantastic. Be grateful. It's amazing what a grateful mindset can do for your performance on everything and your general outlook. Still holding this little wedge. Failed. That's a little bear wedge that just failed. Coming on down. Still couldn't claim the higher highs. If you look at the 5-minute, we could not claim any higher high. So still coming on down. Sometimes a buy call before the market's ready to have a rug pull. Possibly. Possibly. Coming into the 10 o'clock move, that could be a liquidity sweep. You know, where they try to bounce it and then roll it back over and then hammer it. We'll see. Either way, I need volume to do it. I need volume to do it. We'll see if they give us that old liquidity shuffle. Get people to try to reshort that market and then they put on the bounce. I don't know. I'd like to see a little more volume, a little more aggression. Overall, though, man, we're very close to having a bear day. The 10 o'clock move, if that fails the buyers, the 10 o'clock move fails the buyers, then we may be in for another move down before the afternoon. It may actually be a bear down trend day. Still coming down. Yeah, look at the daily. Nothing but bottom wicks except for today's chart. So today will be the decision factor for what do we go into next week looking for. If they can close a red day without bottom wicks, then we may actually be ready for a sell. Because so far, I mean, we're just straight down all morning. We're already down 200-300 points, and we had a very mediocre bounce here. Can't even call it a bounce because it never climbed a higher high. And now we're just sliding even lower, just down, down, down. I applied for my SpaceX shares today. Bet I don't get them. I see a lot of crazy news out there about that stuff. A lot of crazy news about the SpaceX shares. Lowering the margin requirements, count requirements for getting an IPO filing. If this fails, we're going down another 50 points at least, 60 points into 763. Very bearish day. Coming on down. There we go. Straight down. We're already down. Heck, coming on 800 points from yesterday's highs. Drilling. Drilling. Absolutely drilling. Sold my Q's 720 debit spread on Sunday, collected 90% of the profit. Nice. Well done. Well done. Still no volume spike, so still no buy the dip. I would probably say there's a pretty dang good chance we go down to 756 here. Pretty dang good chance we go down to 756, 760. Once this fails, we'll go. July puts to the races. $756, $760 coming on down. This will be an interesting one right here. This will be an interesting one right here. Straight down, baby. We have volume coming in finally. Finally. Right here. 29,763 is a big level. Yeah, that's the prior support. That's the prior support. Coming on down. No shorting. No shorting whatsoever. We're just waiting. At least that's what I'm doing. Absolutely no shorting. Waiting for my entry. My beautiful non-farm payroll. Reversal. Is it time to SPX plus 50 minus 50 thesis? I don't know what that means. There's one bottom wick off that with volume. That's the second highest volume candle of the day. Do we get our bottom wick 3C thesis right here? Do we get it? There it is. Beautiful bounce so far. Fantastic. Extraordinary. Patience. 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 Beautiful, beautiful stuff. What would exactly be the higher high? If you're waiting for the 5-minute higher high, it would be up here at about 894. 894. That is the second highest volume candle of the day. That's a clean one-tap touch at 758. If you're looking at the ES, let's go take a look. Let's let it load. Yeah, that is extraordinary volume on the S&P defense at 7506. Still going. Fantastic bounce. Fantastic bounce. Staying afloat during MNQ today, playing around break even after 5 trades. Heck yeah. Well done. Nice little management of the position sizing. It's good stuff. No shorting. Absolutely no shorting. I keep getting data delays at the top of these candles though. Look long, but not liking that. That's okay. Just waiting for my move. Oh man. Data aggregation. So data aggregation, when you get those errors, that's usually volume inflows, and the candles start to get pretty shaky when that happens. I gotta get my one trade in to lock in yet another payout. Holding this low. This is a very high volume support. So this is what I'm looking to pounce on. This is what I'm looking to pounce on, baby. Make that money. What level am I looking for the S&P? S&P has big levels right here that we're defending. which is a 75.05. After that, we start getting to minor levels. We don't have another big level until 73.56, which obviously is not going to happen today. But we do have a couple of minor pivots, somewhere in these ballparks, 74.09, 74.70, 74.80. But this is the main one now we're going to have to deal with. Crazy selling a lot of puts and buying a lot of calls. Yeah. $29,767. No shorting. I'm just buying the dip, baby. Buying the dip. I regret replying to anyone on social media for any reason. Offering perspective isn't an option when they're just going to disagree. 100%. You cannot reply to anyone on social media. That's why I always reply with sarcasm. Because if you even try to reply to anyone with help, they're just going to be idiots. Everybody knows everything on the internet. Or you're stupid and they're smart. That's all it is. There's no critical thinking on the internet. I troll them all. That's all I do. I wish I had like 1 million followers so I could troll everybody, but what are you going to do? Kids think they know everything. Massive bottom wick again. This is what I'm paying for, baby. Right here. This is what I'm paying for. Even if I only get 100 points, that's all I need. That's all I need. Low stress. That's it. Breaking its 9-week streak if buyers don't budge today. Well, that's a big if. 100% you are correct. If the bears can hold this thing down, they will change out the theme of the macro charts. That's what I'm looking for to start shorting. The macro chart is where I'm going to start changing my thesis for shorting. Right now, it's still accumulative. Every single candle is still bottom wicked. Until that stops, look at this. Beautiful bounce. Going up on a 100-point bounce already. It's amazing. These levels are extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Still going, baby. Still going. Still going. Still going, baby. Beautiful, beautiful bounce. No shorting. Buy the dip. There we go. Still going. 844. Fantastic. Coming up on a 100-point bounce. Yet again. Watch them recover every bit of this. That would be so freaking funny. That would be so freaking funny if they recovered every bit of this. Let's go. It's hard being so good. It's not about being good, man. It's about being patient. Is the OMTPT code valid? It's always valid. OMTPT. That's the code there. It's about being patient. Patience will clear up a lot of misfortune. I firmly believe, like I said yesterday, I don't know if you were here yesterday, JJ. I know it's been a while, but remove the short side of the trade, only play longs, and your trading, I guarantee you, will improve drastically. It'll improve drastically. And that's all I've been doing for 6 weeks. I'm a perma bear, but I haven't taken a short in weeks. See? Beautiful. Well done. This will be 6 weeks that I haven't taken a single trade, a single short trade. And it's been extraordinary. It's been extraordinary. I highly, highly recommend it. Some of them haven't taken a short in 2 months and are still struggling. I've made money, but I've also blown several accounts on dips. I keep dipping. Then we have an entry problem. We have an entry problem. If you downsize position size and you only wait for high volume spikes, a vast majority of the time you are going to make money. Of course, sometimes it's not going to work, but the past 6-7 weeks, I mean, it's been extraordinary. Extraordinary. OMTPT. It's working for others. Is that on? I mean, I don't know what that is, but it's working for others, so I don't know. That's on TakeProfitTrader. Someone else try it. You don't have to sign up, but go to someone try to start a new eval and use that code. See if it's still working. Why not call your entry and help us hone our entry skills? I call my trades every single day for years, and I've had people with astonishing success. If you're struggling buying the dip in this market, there's a severe problem with defining entries and chasing and patience. So literally all you had to do is buy every single dip for the past 2 months and you would have made money. I mean, it's just a matter of, and I kind of talked to Lanner about that. Lanner said he had some issues doing that, and we worked through it, and he had phenomenal days after that. It's just if you're buying highs, I mean, that's an entry problem. That's a chasing problem. But if you go back and look, every single move that's rolled over, as long as you wait for volume, you'll be successful at least 80% of the time. And then after that is position sizing. If I had to bet, I would probably say you're chasing and you're using too much position size. Position size will fix most of your problems. Size way down. Yep. Well, then you have a fear problem. I took a small scalp because of the level it was at. Didn't see that long bottom wick I wanted to see, although the 5-minute gave a nice bottom wick though. Heck yeah, man. I love it. Patience thing is 100% the secret. I've been thinking of trading like trying to run across the interstate. Got to be dang sure you're going to make it. Absolutely. Patience is 100% the secret. Extraordinary bounce, 110 points right there. Right there. There we go. Still going. Still going right here. Fantastic. What's your entry on why? 3C high volume bounce. The same thing I talk about every single day the past couple of months. I see a little frustration in your messages, even though I'm doing the exact same thing every single day, and I've been incredibly clear about every single move that I've taken. No shorting, high volume spikes, buy the dip. This is yet another. We've had textbook 3C bounces every single day for months, and this is another one. High volume candle of the day at 10:02. Beautiful bottom wick right off the 763, which we talked about. 140 points. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. It's been the easiest market now for over 2 months. The easiest market. No stress. That's it. That's all it is. Volume. If you see volume, stop shorting. Period. 600 points back to the channel. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Not to mention the prior week lows. Like clockwork, baby. Are up and down and around. When you get out of positions, do you portion out, I'm assuming? Most of the time I'm out. Very rarely do I scale out. It depends on what my thesis is. Most of the time I'm just in and out. I take 2 contracts, I'm out 2 contracts, period. So, like I said, I'm not someone who's trying to swing for the fences. I take a high quality setup. I ride the move. I set a stop and I'm hands off. That's it. I'm not trying to swing for the fences. If it turns into a 500-point trade, great. If not, that's okay too. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Another bottom wick, baby. No shorting by the dip. No shorting by the dip. It's the best entry model you'll find. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The bounce is right on the previous week low. Yeah. Going for liquidity at 35. That would be interesting. My point is you took that long off 763 before the 3C confirmation. No. But either way, I've said before, you can take trades off of without confirming the third C based on confidence. We came up on a prior week low with high volume spike. So there are times where you don't need to wait for the third C if you don't want to. You can. It depends on it. It depends on your level of confidence in your personal strategy. But prior week low with high volume of the day after an extended move off non-farm payroll with call buying. That's like coach pitch softball, man. 100% win rate this week on TPT. 3 total trades, 2 passed. Love it, Phil. Well done, buddy. Coming up on a 200-point bounce on NASDAQ and going. Extraordinary. Amazing. Best week all year. Heck yeah, baby. I don't want this to end, man. I really don't want the Bears to take control because this has been an extraordinary month. Coming up on the 50, be careful. 93050. Can you please create a 3C indicator? You probably have someone code it for you. Nothing is deep code. I think challenges folks determining what. Yeah, so I have a couple of people working on a 3C indicator, and I think the issue is just having a completely hands-off dynamic indicator where there's no user inputs and it just spits out information. I think that's difficult. So we could probably do something just to identify high volume spikes, but then there's going to have to be user inputs, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Look at this. This is extraordinary. If they take out the high of the day, I'm going to laugh. Like, this is amazing. I took it with 1 micro off the level, added a micro on the way up. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, man. 3C indicator is extremely hard. Yeah. And I'm willing to work with anybody on it. So, like, I'll work. We could have daily conversations about getting this done. I would love to see it. I just don't have the skills or the time to put into learning how to build something like that. So I'm sure there's a way to do it, or at least get it almost all the way there. But yeah, that's my point. If I jump in early, even if it's on volume, the dip keeps dipping. I have to disagree with you there, man. This market has bought every dip. It's gone straight up now for months. I just don't see how, if you're using proper position sizing and you're only buying high volume spikes, I don't see how that you're getting blown out. So I'd have to see what your entries are to determine what's going on. Maybe you have a very small tolerance for losing. Like if you put on 1 micro and you're closing out the trade after a 10-point loss, I mean, you're going to have to risk some loss. There is going to be times where a micro trade is going to be down 30, 40 points. That's just part of trading, man. And that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you just got to wait for the trade to start to marinate. Well, then then you're not buying dips. You're not buying high volume spikes. I'll go ahead and tell you that. If you're losing constantly on 100-point stops, then you are not buying high volume dips. You're entering too early or too late. Look at Bookmap, lots of heat. Heck yeah, man. Here's a 50%. We see this little red candle off the 930 or 930. We have a rejection off of it. That's why we have to be careful trying to long into the 50%. SPY 5-minute 3C clear as day. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. It's beautiful stuff. If we can clear this, then off to the races, baby. How about we do another 50K giveaway? How about we do a 50K giveaway? It's a good day, man. Good day, good profits. Let's do a giveaway. I'm going to draw a winner soon. Let's draw the winner by the end of the stream. Let's do it. Locked out my account, done for the week. Yeah, buddy. I love it. Well freaking done. Just getting on. I love the smell of a 100-point gold sell-off in the morning. Oh, yeah. I don't think you can take Ohm's exact entries as you could because he can lose more than most of his plan. Plus his feel for the market is better than ours. Well, I mean, I agree with most of that, Zach. It's not the fact that I can lose more. It's because, I take bad entries too, just like everybody else. But I'm very patient and I mean it. I'm only trading 1 or 2 times a day, anywhere between 5 to 8 trades a week, sometimes 15, sometimes less than that. But it's all about I am waiting for severely high volume, and sometimes I front run the third C, sometimes I don't. But it depends on confidence. If I have a weekly low level, highest volume candle of the day, an incredible amount of call buying, then I may front run the third C. If I don't have any of that, then I need the third C. The third C is the ace in the hole to get you into price action confirmation without structural confirmation. Structural confirmation is the massive weekly low we just bounced off on 763. And I've said it a million times. I guarantee you they're going to defend these levels at least once. They're going to give you a scalpable retracement off these levels. And I don't know how far they're going to go. Sometimes a complete reversal, sometimes only 20, 30 points. And then if you combine all that into a beautiful 3C casserole, you can start to decide, all right, I'm going to front run the third C. I'm not going to front run the third C. And that's the beautiful thing about trading, is that it's in the eye of the beholder. It's in the eye of the beholder. Have you tried using AI to code it? I'd be surprised how awesome it'll do. I haven't, simply because I'm a boomer, man. I'm just like I got to figure out how to use all that stuff. So I got to figure out how to use all that. I'm not really a boomer, but I feel like a boomer. Not physically though. I feel like a freaking teenager physically. I have a 3C indicator that's been really successful the past 3 weeks, but it needs human bias where you draw out the resistance support only to trade the 3C signal when it closes that level. All right, so yeah, I mean, that might be the best solution, though, Omran, is to have a user input that does most of the work, and then the 3Cs kind of just turns it up. I do use a ton of AI for my code at work. It's awesome. Nice. Yeah, I got to look into more of that. I needed a good day after paying my quarterly taxes yesterday. Alrighty, right here, coming back down. Rejecting off the 50, right there. Rejecting off the 50. On another note, Cali will be counting votes for the next 2 weeks until they get the result they wanted. Oh my gosh. Used for uranium. Made great money on that bounce, but held too long. Do you usually see that big of a dip on the 50? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I don't know the stats on the rejections off the 50, honestly. I look for how the price action responds when we get to those levels. Someone has to pay for congressional sexual harassment. Yeah, it's infuriating. I'm not an angry person. I usually have a pretty charitable-like demeanor. I get a visceral hatred reaction every time I have to pay taxes. Like visceral. It's the only time that I need it. Like I pay it, and I tell the family I just need like 30 minutes. Go outside, shoot some guns. Have you doubled down on your assessment by using prediction market? I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean? I'm curious about that question. I love that about you. Which part? Become a W-2 slave? You know what though? We've talked a lot about that W-2 stuff. I actually envy W-2 people. They don't have to see, they don't actually have to write the check for pay taxes. They just have it come out every month. Physically having to write this much, having to write this big of a check towards taxes, like, it does something to you. It does something to you. What did Kennedy just post? A fudge factory. Interesting. Must thank you for your help lately. I was so frustrated with the easiest trading ever. Losses bigger than the wins. I found out that I was looking at any high volume, regardless of what price is at, ending up 8 and chop. This week I'm hoping to turn that around. 5 green days in a row. What I have done, I've marked previous day highs, lows, marked overnight high lows, marked only major swings, only buy the dip near those 3. Dude, that is extraordinary. And I honestly mean this. Well freaking done. I went from 10 trades a day to 2 to 3. I could not be happier. Thank you on the server. That is extraordinary. Like, that's one of my favorite messages I've gotten in a long time, because that is an extraordinary 4-point bullets to what exactly all of you should be doing. And you identified the mistake and you corrected it by looking at any high volume with only looking for high volume. You just literally encapsulated what I do. That's me. You just became me. If everyone had to pay quarterly rather than having withholding, we would have tax reform because people could feel the sting. Do you know what it's like for me to think, hey, I could literally invest this money or go do something or buy other property, but instead I have to send it to the government? 30% of my income? Do you know how this country would prosper if we weren't paying the government? We would have prosperity like you'd never seen before. And I know, how would you pay for utilities? It's not going to utilities now anyway. It's going to fraud. Now, I would rather pay the money to a sound local government than the federal government. Anyway, I'm going to get pissed off. I can't talk about this. 48% deduction before it hits my hands. I hate it. I hate it. The government's supposed to pay for utilities. I meant like public utilities, like roads, infrastructure, stuff like that. Anyway. Oh man. So there is a program in July to honor veterans suicide awareness. In the month of July, you run 2 miles a day every day. Run or walk 2 miles a day. I think I'm going to do it. It's called the 62-mile walk challenge. Run or walk challenge. I think I'm going to do it. I like taking on hard challenges. Is it going to be a bear day? I don't know. It's definitely a bear morning so far, although we had a beautiful 200-point bounce here. If they reclaim the 50, I would at least pause any kind of bear thesis because we'll reclaim 30,100. I want government officials arrested. Things will change. I don't think that'll happen. It has to go to extremes. I can't run it, but I'm walking for it. I love it, Dave. Well done, buddy. I appreciate the effort. That's all it is, man. Effort. IRS, we have what it takes to take what you have. Oh, man. Yeah, and kind of going back to your comment, Dave, is that when I say this is the easiest market ever, I'm saying that because it's very rare to see what we've seen the past 2 months. It's very rare where the market will defend every single red candle. That's what I mean by that. And if, like, trust me, I was losing a bunch the first 2 weeks of this rally because I was shorting too much. It wasn't until after the second week that I started forget every put, forget every short. I'm only taking calls. I'm only buying the dip. And that's when I switched 6 weeks ago. And since then, I'm telling you, my stress went from like I'm gonna rip my whatever hair I've got left out, my little like peach fuzz, to like I'm like Cheech and Chong on a beach in Maui smoking weed on Prozac, on Christmas Eve. Like it's just no stress whatsoever. No stress whatsoever. Even the losses I take, it's just they're so mitigated that it's not a big deal. And that's what I've been trying to impart on you all. You know what helped me on that 3C last night? I said the whole process out loud and showed my wife, despite her not caring, as long as it's a green number. Her words, not mine. Then took the long, explained out loud. Said, "You see that bar spiking up? That's high volume. Price closed higher, which means higher, more likely." She asked, "But why stay now if it's going back down?" Part of the fluctuation. Higher time frames don't support a drop. There's no high volume spike. I'm going to stay long until that happens. Hey, that's excellent. Voice it out before it happens. I love it, despite her not caring. She may not care about the process, but she cares about the outcome. Trump just said stocks should rise. Uh-oh. You know what that means. You know what that means. This president cares about one thing and one thing only: the stock market. That's funny. I do the same thing. Talk to my girl even when she's not listening, just to wrap my dumb brain around it. Yeah, I do the same thing with the wife. We have power hours about everything. Every time I'm frustrated about a trade, the first thing she asks me, "Did you follow your rules?" No. Then I don't want to hear you complaining. Yes, ma'am. Nice, beautiful bounce again. Nice, beautiful bounce again. Trade like your wife is watching. Hey, that's a good point. Yes, man, we all have the same lady, it sounds like. Yeah. It was truly a me thing. I was fighting my ego and my thoughts, then getting blasted over and over, just ate away. I had to do something different, so I started over watching some real videos and said, do this and only this. Now I'm working on taking my loss without beating myself up. Hey, that's awesome, man. Extraordinary. Everything you said in that message was extraordinary. Everything. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be over freaking complicated. Just simple. Sometimes you're going to lose no matter what. And sometimes you're going to go 2 weeks without taking a single loss. Learning how to lose well. Heck yeah, man. I'm pretty comfortable with my entries. I just can't tell when to keep my stop losses closer, sit on my hands. I always take profit way too soon. Can't seem to shake this. All right, well, that's the hard part. I've always tried to give my 2 cents about when to set stop losses. It's very difficult. It all depends on the setup. It depends on your confidence. It depends on market conditions. In these market conditions where they are buying every single dip and then rocketing, you don't really want to put a tight stop on. You don't really want to set a trailing stop. Just, let it go. And then there's some markets where, yeah, you want to set it. So it's hard to really say. There's one strategy at about a profit target is that you don't set a profit target. You have a mental profit target. And when the market goes up to that trigger and hits it, you put your stop there, not your profit target. That way, it'll keep, sometimes it'll just keep on going. You'll catch a massive trend, and sometimes you'll stop out at your profit target. But that requires patience of holding up until that level. And it requires good technical analysis, too. There's a lot to say for technical analysis. If you don't know what you're doing, then it doesn't matter what you do with your trailing stops. You're going to get blasted. I found I've been forced to just go sit in the corner and think about what I've done. That had TV and cable installed. I love it. Sign me up for 2 weeks of nothing but winning, please. It'll happen. I had the best December and January ever. It was fantastic. And then I went through, a little bit of fasting period there, and end of January into February. It's humbling to do that. It's humbling to go from everything you touch turns to gold to, it's like Mr. Magoo in the stock market. Best loser wins. Heck yeah. What a morning. This no PD2 rule is being lifted is a freaking awesome. I haven't traded options in 6 months till today. There you go, man. I'm headed to Stockholm for a business trip next week, Friday the 12th through Thursday the 18th. If anyone wants to carry the torch on website, please DM me. This month when everything turned to gold, what was that The month that everything turned to gold was a contract size, and was it minis or micros? Be honest, it was all minis, and it started slow and it accelerated quickly, which I think eventually led to my demise. So trading the prop firm Top Step account, like I went from making $500 to $1,000 a day trading gold and silver, and then that accelerated to $5,000 a day, and then I started having multiple $30,000 days. Like I had like 3 days in a row where I hit 30 grand. It was extraordinary. One day I hit 47,000. And that was only trading 5 to 6 minis. And then I got stupid and I started scalping 15 minis on silver, which if you've never done that, you haven't lived before, because that was ridiculous. And I had a phenomenal day, and then of course I started taking losses into the end of June. But I'd already made 160,000 by that point. I made $160,000 by that point. But it was crazy. How big was your buffer with 15 minis? The buffer was how hard I could squeeze my butt cheeks. That's it. Like, it was extraordinary. It was degen, 100%. It was degen. But it's one of those things, man. Like, I am not an aggressive player, but I saw an opportunity where the silver was doing nothing but skyrocketing. So all I did was just long and buy the dip on silver. And I was making so much money, I couldn't believe it, and how fast I could make it. And then when silver stopped skyrocketing is when I started getting clapped. And, I mean, yeah, I did lose a Top Step account, but by then I'd made so much money, it didn't matter. I didn't care. I didn't care. I hear you say you don't short. Is that just scalp-wise? Like putting on a monthly put for a hedge isn't a bad idea? Well, the theme behind not shorting is the fact that this market has been on a historic rally. We've never seen anything like it. The retail mind has a tendency, myself included by the way, has a tendency to want to try to short too early. They want the big win, so they want to short the tip top. God forbid you allow one day to go red before you actually start shorting and catch the right side of the V, or the inverse V. So my theme is I want the macro charts to support a downside move before I start getting into shorts. Otherwise, you get in the mindset of this can't possibly keep going, and guess what? It doesn't. Even now, how many people already right now are looking to put their entire portfolio into a put, and then Monday we could be at 32,000? It was free walnut season. Yeah, 100%. Squats help with butt clenches. They do. You could have turned coal into diamonds in my butt cheeks. It was crazy. But we had a lot of fun. Now, I did not do that on TPT. You couldn't do that. I would not do that. That was only a Top Step thing. That's the beautiful thing about prop firms, though, man. You know, when the conditions permit, you can take big misses. You take big swings, and if you miss, no big deal. I would never take that risk in IBKR. Thank you for telling me this. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I did the same thing with silver, then it started soaring several months back. Unfortunately, I made 200 in a paper account. By the time I realized this was ready to trade my real account, all brokers increased the margin requirements. Yeah. That may be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in the server. That's the most ridiculous thing. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I can make you laugh. I was green every day since last Friday, but I just had a loss today. First week properly trading. Trying not to let it bother me. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, don't let it bother you. Red days are common, you know. Don't let a red day get you down. Those are very, very common. But just to hedge against long-term port. Yeah. And trust me, the day's coming. I think it's coming very quickly. My thesis is the wheels will start to fall off after all of the mid-month data comes to pass. Still bottom wicking. Still going. Yeah, after SpaceX IPO, yeah. Need to hang out more. There's much more ridiculous stuff coming. Heck yeah, there is. Yeah. Yeah. No tweet play? Not yet. Are they shaking out before going back to high of the day? I don't know. I don't know. I've taken my one trade. Not sure what I'm going to do again. It's Friday, baby. SpaceX IPO said to draw more orders than their shares available. Yeah, I think this is going to be some of the craziest thing we've ever seen. I mean, I keep, the fun thing about this market is that we keep having to say that. How many times in the past 6 years have we said this is the craziest thing we've ever seen? 1,000 times. And I think it's going to continue to be that way. More history on history. It's crazy. Everything historic. So, no idea how I did 3,000 on all accounts logging. Usually I get smoked on days like today. Hey, there was a fantastic buy the dip opportunity. The highest volume candle of the day, noted the bottom. That is a 3C. That is textbook 3C. Textbook 3C. Crazier thing has lost its luster. Yeah. I think we range under 30K until power hour at least, just to guess best 10 options. Yeah. Nasdaq between last two pivots, nothing entered at the moment. I think the IPO will be the biggest transfer of wealth we've seen in quite a while. Not for us. Is anyone buying the IPO? I saw a thesis that they could see SpaceX drop to 40 within the coming year. And if it does drop to 40, I will literally full port. I'll put 50% into SPY and the other 50% into SpaceX, and I'll hold it for 20 years. And then I'll hold a stream in 20 years to recap the trade. If SpaceX drops like the rest of the IPOs, 50, 60, will you buy? 100% I will buy. I've been waiting for this IPO for a decade. So, unfortunately, everyone else sees the IPO like I do, so that means it's going to be overpriced. And that's fine. I do think long term that is a generational opportunity. So when it does fall over, I will buy. I will buy. Oh, I'm trillionaire, yeah. I'm interested to hear your thesis on why so bullish on SpaceX. It's all the applications. I don't think people truly understand. Right now, Starlink is only looked at as a cliche, I guess maybe a very cool internet company, in addition to obviously the space stuff that he does. But you have to think of two applications that I want to really highlight. Number one, having a global internet that requires no cell phone services is the next generation of cell phones. Like this is a shift in the tides. Like, do you realize how archaic it is to have to put up stupid towers around hills in order to get cell phone service? Which it doesn't even work. Like literally, I can go into town, I get no service. Elon is about to fix all that. The military applications alone, which I'm not going to discuss, are incredible, extraordinary. And then you start to bring in the aspect of now, what about the billions of people on Earth that have cell phones that are going to be connected to this eventually? That's the next step, is to get all cell phones on Starlink or Starlink-related cell phone service. And then all the communications and internets and all this other transfer of data. Not to mention the speed at which data can traverse these SpaceX satellites. I mean, it's going to be a technology changing service. Not to mention Grok, yeah. Now, in terms of SpaceX, the space company, not necessarily Starlink, is that the ability to launch and recover rockets this quickly is going to be massive applications for technology in space. What's the technology they sent to space that we don't know about yet? We no longer have to wait months or weeks to send rockets into space. He's literally churning out daily rockets. So, do I think it's going to be the next Amazon? I don't know. I hope so. I mean, how many times, I mean, every generation since our grandpappies says, hey, I wish I would have bought this and this. Hey, I wish I would have bought Amazon. Hey, I wish I would have bought Apple. Is this going to be our version of Amazon? I don't know. But I do know that it has fantastic applications. And I'm going to buy it. Amazon was a penny stock, not a record-breaking IPO. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And they had their ups and downs for a long time before they finally started on the uptrend. So, how many shares do you think Trump has placed prior to the IPO? Dude, there's no telling. There's no telling. In fact, I saw a conspiracy theory that the Trump-Elon breakdown of relationship. Remember when they had that public scuffle when the first year Trump was elected? That was orchestrated to get him away from Trump, so Trump would not be accused of insider trading when he bought all the SpaceX IPO. How many shares do you think Trump has placed prior to the earnings of that? You can tell us about the military applications. Trust me. Yeah, I can't. I'm sure I could. I don't want to toe that line. I'm sure I'm already on watch list for my hatred for the IRS. What time is it? 10 o'clock. Hope our names are touching. As a tech guy, I'm interested in seeing how they'll upgrade satellite tech to improve bandwidth and latency, because right now I believe it's far lagging to cell towers. Trump is a hedge fund that runs there. Yeah. They're in this Discord for sure. At least one of these jabronis is spying. Absolutely. Mr. 50. Oh, I love it. What was your military progression on rank? Do you mean like how I went through the ranks? I started out enlisted, so I went to the military as enlisted. I made it to staff sergeant, and then I commissioned, and I made it into captain. And I was a year away from putting on major, and then I retired. which is an 04 major. Major in the Air Force is 04 for my non-Air Force people. Didn't know you were prior enlisted. Oh yeah, I was prior enlisted. Went to basic training first. I wish I could have gone commission straight into it, but the way the National Guard works, they do things a little differently. If it was big Air Force, I would have gone straight officer, but they do things a little differently. Well, why didn't you wait that 1 year before majoring, before retiring? I couldn't. I have a lot going on in my life, and I didn't have the time commitment. It was a large time commitment. It's the reason why I retired, because I've got so much going on. I mean, it was killing me. So I had to make a choice. What happened to Mr. Fit? Is he back? No, I mean he hasn't been in here since that one day he left like 2 years ago. He made a lot of incredibly insane comments. Like he flipped out. I don't know if he took some bad drugs that day, and that was that. He left. Were you trading while you served? Yes. I did like him too. That was the bummer part, man. Like we were planning to go to dinner at the conference in Vegas, and it didn't end up happening. But we talked a lot, traded recipes, and then one day, like he just flipped. It was weird. But that's pretty common. That's why I'm very standoffish with becoming too close to you jabronis, because y'all are crazy. Dan is close to the edge too. Yeah, but Dan's my kind of crazy. I'm crazy like Dan, so we match up. People on the internet, yeah. Yeah, I was trading while I served, yeah. I love prior enlisted versus academy. They always understood the enlisted. Yeah. That's the thing about being in the pilot community, the military aviation community, is that there's a lot of academy grads, and they all wear the academy ring, and they all think their poop don't stink. All right, hanging on to 29,822 here. I'm trying to take trading full time, currently a banker in my profession. What milestones helped you leave your main job and do this? Yeah, so I don't consider trading my full-time income. And I don't really recommend anyone do that. It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly difficult to make trading your full-time income, your only income. I would probably say it's almost impossible to make trading your only income because there's too many ups and downs. It's too hard on your emotions, especially if you got a family to support. Yeah, it's everyone's goal. Heck, it's my goal. If I could sit here and put on a couple of trades a day and that'd be my only income, I mean, that'd be the greatest thing ever. But in my experience, I am not the type of trader to do this only trading because it's insanely difficult. And it's great when things are going right. But when things go bad, it's the most stressful thing you'll ever do in your life. Like it'll take 10 years off your life. So I always recommend a secondary income and then augment with trading. And then you kind of start building a portfolio of multiple sources of income. Even if it's a small source of income, you have to have something to fall back on when trading is not giving you what you need. In addition, your definition of trading can be different than mine. I don't think scalping exclusively is the way to go. Scalping exclusively is nearly impossible. Now, it's made it a lot more possible with prop firms. Prop firms have made this a lot more sustainable. But scalping in general is not good. Exclusively scalping. You need to be able to swing trade, day trade, quarterly, long-term leaps, stuff like that. You need to be able to do the whole repertoire of trading to do this successfully. If you're a one-trick pony and only scalping, I just don't see how you're going to make it successfully long term. The market conditions shift too rapidly, and us as traders, I don't care how good of a trader you are, myself included, you don't have the tools to see these things as clearly as the big money. The big money will always pickpocket you. It will pickpocket you. The reason being is because the way I would like for you to go about doing that is to use your incomes, if you're a W-2 or whatever it is, to kind of sponsor your trading, and then you slowly build your risk and your portfolio size with trading until you can start to make it, 50-50 of your income, or 60-40, or 30-70, stuff like that. And then maybe one day you can make it your primary source of income. I can't remember the last time I took a swing trade. Yeah. Trading is my main gig. I have a few side gigs, but trading's my primary. That's awesome, JJ. Yeah, it's fantastic. She has a striking resemblance to my college ex, and she was insane. Makes sense. I'm assembling a dividend portfolio that will account for my current income and supplementing with daily trading and eventual props. I haven't started to prop trade. Yeah, so dividend portfolios are fantastic. I'm not a big fan of having an only dividend portfolio, which a lot of people do have, but I think having a healthy allocation into dividend stocks, like the dividend kings, in addition to a stock portfolio, is fantastic. But my approach to trading is everything. I want to be good at everything. Selling premium for income, cash secured puts, covered calls, scalping, day trading, swing trading, props, everything. That way I can kind of shift where the market shifts. Guess we're going down? Well, we're right now stuck in the lower half of the 50, which is bearish. If the bulls cannot reclaim the upper half of the range, bears are still very much in control. And if they absorb 760 without another high volume spike, because now as we're coming down, my eyes once again go right back to here. We already have one high volume spike here that goes up. Now that we're retracing back down into this 763 area, watch the volume. If you get no volume spike, that is absorption for lower price. And then we'll come on down to the next target. NASA orders International Space Station astronauts to prepare for evacuation as an air leak is worsening. Still coming down. Watch the volume. I did just what you said, made it slowly until I was able to shift from trading a secondary as trading to primary. What's funny is that slowly turns out to be pretty quick if you're consistent. I love it, JJ. That's amazing, dude. It's amazing. Well done, though. You've accomplished what millions try to do every day. I think trading full-time is very doable. Remember I told you about my family who's 70 years old and now worked for corporate America since the 90s, lived off investments, done very well, never went back. It does not live high in the hobby, very humble. Yeah, I love it. He's by far the happiest people I know. Yeah. That's fantastic. I 100% think it's doable. It's just very difficult. Not to mention, I don't enjoy sitting at the computer and trading, so I like, I like doing other stuff. I like staying busy, so that's why I have, all of the things I have to touch on every day. It's good stuff. Plus, I can't pass this to my kids. I can pass the money to my kids, but I can't pass trading to them. So I need I need a legacy to pass with the kids, pass to the kids. They may be good traders. I'll try my best to see if they can do it, but what if they're terrible? You can pass it down to me. I'll do it. I remember a few years ago you introduced trading to your son. How'd that go? Um, he didn't do it very long. It's just he's got so much going on: sports, clubs, extracurriculars. It's just not something he really was interested in too much. So we'll revisit as an older age. And I didn't want to force it upon him either. I want him to be kids. I want him to enjoy, doing all that stuff. So I am not in a hurry to push trading on them. At school, my daughter told her class I was unemployed. Trading is fairly shallow and unfulfilling. Dude, I can't agree with that more. Like, that's the problem, is that trading, if you're someone who enjoys fulfillment in what they do in work, trading is not for you. Yes, the money's nice when you're good at it. It gives you a whole bunch of free time, which is the whole point. But if you like fulfillment in what you do, trading is not for you. You have to have other things to keep you sharp. It's a goal to hit 50% of my salary or more, the average salary and hourly rate. Many people, if they took the time, they could trade that. Absolutely, they could. If you went patient, you can absolutely do that. All right, so no volume spike, so I expect at least somewhat lower prices. Let's zoom out. 15 more minutes and we'll call it a day. 29,500. Right there. There we go, new low. No volume spike, no buy the dip. Shifting down to the next target. Shifting down. Here we go. 29,745 still dropping. Next target. There's no volume spike. You cannot buy yet. And it looks like absorption for lower. So far it is. Now we're going to be looking for 677. Actually, we do have this 743 pivot we need to deal with there too. So I do want to make that aware. Right there. Once you come on that, it's coming down to 677. We'll see what happens. Do you see where I got that from, though? In terms of no volume spike, no buy the dip. It's absorption. Until you get a volume spike, you can't buy. I'll see your huge gun collection. Raise you a huge gun collection of huge guns. I like it. Right there. Just simply look for high volume spikes. Don't get carried away. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be. Not to mention, do you need to take another trade? Like, how many trades is good enough? Still coming down. The TPT still have that 10K a day move to you pro. They still have the 10K limit, but it does not automatically move to you to live anymore. They just lock the account the next day you unlock it. So that last volume down spike needs to be how highish to be significant enough. It depends on the session. Right now, none of this is high volume. So I'm always looking down here for something that's is gonna be an obvious outlier volume. You have to remember, when you're dealing with a 1 minute candle like this, you have to demand a high level of volume. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught up. Remember what Dave said? Dave said that he was buying every high volume inflow, not the ones that matter. So if you're gonna look to buy, you have to demand outlier volume spikes to look. So right now, no volume spikes. There's no support. And then we're getting into the later stages of the day. So we haven't really talked much about today in terms of the time frames, but we do talk about that stuff. Which means that 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock time frame is the bread and butter. And then after that, you start getting into the shake and bake manipulation style stuff. The high frequency trader sessions. There's a gap below? Yes, it is. Can you DM me the logic for 3Cs that you want in your indicator? I've been doing coding using Claude, learning a lot. I'll give it a try over the weekend. Sure, I can do that. Does everyone, before we wrap up, because we only have 12 minutes, does everyone understand my thesis for the session and all my comments? Do I need to clarify anything? Oh, nice. They dropped the charges for that Arkansas sheriff. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. Small defense, but otherwise doing okay. Doing okay. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome. You're welcome, Zach. You're welcome, Heises. Little SR flip. Support resistance flip right here. Still no volume spike. I don't have a lot of confidence in the buyers right now. On the trend today is downward. How do you play the 3Cs long while not fighting the trend? I do not play them unless I see a very high volume spike. I've taken one trade today on the high volume spike that we got at 10:02. I'm not taking another single long trade unless I see an extraordinary amount of volume. Right now, the trend is 100% down. I am bullish, but I'm not stupid. At least, not all the time. Sometimes I am. So, unless I see a high volume spike, and then, of course, confirmation with the second, I'm not longing. I'll let the bears have their day in the sun, and then at the end of the session, I'll figure out what the daily chart's doing, and I'll make my determination for next week, which I'll post for the Tier 2 members over the weekend for the weekly brief. Good question, though. Good question. Seems to have more upside shorting. Yeah, today, 100%. You're right. Today's a bearish day, 100%. But me personally, I am not shorting until the macro charts change. That's the decision that I've made because I want to stay on one side of the trade. And the thing is, though, man, the reason why is because my patience is telling me that when the time comes for this thing to sell, there's a whole bunch of meat down here for me to take advantage of. I'm not worried about one day. Whole bunch of meat to take advantage of. If you want to short, today's the day to do it. But I'm just going to wait for high volume wicks. I think I need to stop going back and forth, flipping either side, stick to the guns. I mean, that's 100% what I've done. 100% what I've done. The average trader, myself included, is not that good at flipping back and forth between shorting, longing, shorting, longing, shorting, longing. When's the last time we've had a 3% down day? It's been over a year since we've had a 3% negative day. April of 25 is the last time it's happened. And it's getting pretty close to it today. Can't tell the bottom wick or top wick volume. That right there is going to be a little more buyer's volume. Decent. That's not bad volume. The higher high. We are coming up on the London close here in 5 minutes too. So, any final questions before we wrap this up? Happy to be back. Happy to have you back. Very happy to have you back. I always love seeing the OGs come back. I appreciate you coming. Thanks for the insight. You're welcome. ES3Cs to 7511. Yeah, so we're looking right here. Let's go to the 570. Yeah, that's right. 7512. So yeah, high volume spike right here. So that is a high volume spike coming into the London close. So again, today is a bearish day. So if you're gonna short, today would be the day to do it. Just make sure you're not shorting into high volume supports. Me personally, I've taken my one trade today, and I'm good. If I will come back and revisit the charts at the end of the day and determine what the plan is for next week, and whether or not we need to start planning for some swing short positions. That's where the big money is made, the big swing shorts. You've been buying short into the ground. Uh-oh. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I need to stop putting so much stock into options flow. Options are super bullish, but it obviously isn't having an effect. Well, it's one of those things, remember. As long as you're putting the 3Cs forward, you can use stuff like that, but 100%. I mean, I haven't had the option data today, and I've done just fine. So there is some truth to that comment, definitely, Steve. But, I rely heavily on the 3Cs, the volume of the market. Appreciate you, Wills, Wayless. You were super clear. Thanks, Tradesman Jesse. Appreciate your comments and hanging out with us. Welcome if you're on YouTube. It's been a fantastic week, man. The thing about the market is that it's the Wild West. Some people win, some people lose, no matter the conditions. There's frustrations, there's euphoria, there's happy, there's anger. That's just part of it. Either way, if you had a fantastic week, go enjoy some time off, 2 days of getting outside. Don't stick to the charts all freaking weekend. If you had a bad week, same thing. Forget it. Hit the reset button. None of it matters. Come back on Monday and let's grind. Let's learn. Small potatoes. This is not 2021 anymore where everybody's a genius and making 100 grand a day. Small potatoes. Inch your way through. $200, $50, $10 a day, it's all that matters. I'm sure there's some dude in the slums in India who would love to make $10 a day. Who would give anything to make $10 a day. In the larger scheme of things, do you think the bull run is over? I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't see this rally coming from March 28th until now. I didn't see this coming. I was dead wrong about this, 100%. Now I did pivot into a very bullish stance and made a good amount of money from it, but I did not see this bull rally coming. So I don't know if it's going to be over or not. If you go back and look at 1999, we had several step-ups. The rally of 1999, 1998 had several step-ups. We'd go on a rally, consolidate, slight little top tick, and then go on another one. And every one of them was more aggressive than the last. So I don't know. Is this the last euphoric blow-off top of AI to 35,000 and 10,000 the S&P before a big sell-off? I don't know. I do think temporarily the bull run is over. I think temporarily we are going to have a top tick here, and I don't know how big it's going to be, but I still think in the big scheme of things we are going to see a very significant drawdown, but I don't know when that's going to be. 2 years, 3 years, who knows? Either way, I'll play it as I see it. Just finished a $400 soldering plumbing job. Nice. Hey, you made more money than a lot of people. Well done. So, and to Dave's point, if you bought high volume spikes, I mean, even now, we're only up, 10 points on the S&P, but it's still a bounce. So, again, be very, very selective with the volume. Relative. Some bounces are better than others. All right, y'all. It is 11:32. We're 2 minutes past London. I hope you have a good rest of the day. And I will see you all bright and early Monday morning and then Sunday night for our weekly beer for Tier 2. So, y'all have a good rest of the day. I'm out. See you.